Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my number one product in each and every category. Exciting. Now I did this video just over a year ago. I think it was a year ago in April, so I say just, but actually it's quite a lot more than that now. 16 months, in fact, is how long it has been since I last did this video. Things have changed. Some things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. I thought it would be interesting to go over my number one product now, currently in the year 2022, and take a look back at what the answer was 16 months ago. Catch a little number and see what has made it 16 months later still in top spot and what has fallen by the wayside and been replaced and by what. So without further ado, let's get started. Now I must apologise because I know at least one person is going to be furious that I'm not doing this video as like a try-on style, but here's the thing, here's my excuse, okay, hear me out. Doing it this way is going to take me like half an hour to film it and maybe an hour to edit. If I'd done it with a try-on style, it would have taken an entire day to film and edit, and it's a day I wish I had. Don't get me wrong, I wish I had that day for you guys. I know it's more helpful and I'm sorry, but I've run out of time and I had to film another video with a different eyeshadow palette, as you can see, and it was just, yeah, a shambles, a shambolic mess, as is the entire summer holidays. You know, as you can imagine, 6 weeks with children trying to do YouTube is very tricky and challenging, and this is what it is. So I just had to get that off my chest because I know someone's going to be complaining at me in the comment section. But I could not make it work, and I'm sorry, this is where we're at, this is what we've got. Okay, it's all I can do, just doing my best. So we're going to go in basically the order that I would do the makeups, and we're starting off with the brow fixing, the brow controlling product category. Very exciting category, but you know, it's a category, so we must cover it. So 2021's winner was actually the ABH Brow Freeze, and I can tell you, it's not the 2022 winner. The 2022 winner is the Benefit Brow Gel, the brow 24-hour brow setter, to give it its correct name. And the reason for that is that I started laminating my brows last year and I've never looked back. I barely use any kind of brow controlling product anymore because my brows are laminated and they need no controlling. They have their own controlling system that is applied by my brow tech. But I barely use brow gel, any kind of brow holding product, because now I don't need to, which is life-changing, let me tell you. But previously, before my brows were laminated, this did not hold my brows where I wanted them to stay at all. It was not strong enough for my very powerful brows and their stubborn behaviours. But now it is, because although brow lamination only lasts, like as in it holds your brows without the need for any products, it probably lasts 3 to 4 weeks for me not needing to do anything, and then it's a few more weeks till I can get them redone. And in the in-between times, this does work, because although my brows have lost some of the lamination power, they still has a little bit, and that combined with this now works. Because previously this on its own on my unruly brows didn't do enough for me. Now it does, so now I prefer this to the ABH Brow Freeze. So a new number one. How exciting. So next up in the brow pencil category, we have a non-mover. This is like doing the top 40, isn't it? It's like doing the top 40. We've got a non-mover and at number 29. It's the Huda Brow Pencil. Nothing has changed. This has been my number one brow pencil now for years. I've repurchased it 25 dozen times and I can't see it being gazumped, but I've said that before about other products, and well, just you wait. Now the next category is primer. Primer, one of the most anticipated categories, products that we've been talking about on my channel for years now. I have been using the Tatcha Silk Canvas. Last year in 2021, during this video, the number one primer for me was the original Tatcha Silk Canvas. It was my number one holy grail primer. Didn't think anything was ever going to touch it. I then tried the liquid. Pros and cons between the two. I love both of those still, the Tatcha Liquid and the original Tatcha Silk Canvas. My second and third favourite primers. Did you catch the clue? subtle little clue there. There's pros and cons between the liquid and the solid silk canvas. Okay, so the liquid I find more convenient. With the liquid with the pump system and things like that, I do prefer that, and I just find the process of applying it slightly easier with it being a liquid than being the cream. But I do find the liquid is more prone to pilling with certain other products, going on top of certain other products. Sometimes it's a bit problematic to apply it and avoid pilling. You have to leave a very long time between skincare and makeup, and if you're using a moisturizer with an SPF, I find that always fights with the liquid silk canvas. So I didn't have those issues with the pot version, the original version. I have now purchased the pot version and gone back and forth with my Tom Ford primer, and my conclusion, my final decision is that my new #1 primer is in fact the Tom Ford Traceless Soft Matte, a new entry in the primer category, my absolute favorite. This has never ever pilled with anything, regardless of whether I almost went back to back skincare makeup, regardless of SPF and moisturizers, regardless of like a really heavy moisturizer taking a long time to soak in. It has never once a single time or a single bit pilled at all. But it's like the best of both worlds of the Tatcha silk canvas. It's smoothing, it feels silky, it gives a flawless application of your foundation, it extends the wear of my foundation, it stops too much shine coming through, but it doesn't dull my skin at all. It doesn't take the life out of my skin, but it keeps everything just where it is, looking glorious all day long. It does everything that the silk canvases do, but without any problems with application ever, without any pilling ever, and the convenient like pump, travel friendly, lighter component. This is it for me. That is my final answer. This is my #1 favorite primer. Now the foundation category, again a very highly anticipated category, one I'm constantly asked, what's your favorite foundation, what's your top foundation, do you like this one more than this one, has this one knocked this one off? The winner from 2021 was the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate foundation, and it's still my favorite. It's still my holy grail. This year for sure, in 2022, it's had the most competition that I think it's ever had. Okay, there have been several foundations that, oh, they're really pushing it. They are really putting a bid in and challenging this one for top spot. The Chanel #1, the NARS Light Reflecting, the new Hourglass foundation, they and more. There are others. Everybody is coming for this one's neck. And I will say that all of those that I've mentioned, I would prefer for an evening, for an event, anything where there's going to be flash photography, because of the stupid SPF 50 that got walloped in here for some unknown reason. Nobody asked for it. But that is the one drawback of this foundation. I love the texture, I love the consistency, I love the shades. Summer and winter, it has perfect shades for me. My summer shade is Golden Almond. My winter shade is Shell Beige, winter, Golden Almond in summer, perfect shades. I just adore the finish of this foundation. That is what is so special that sets this apart for me. Very tricky to find a foundation with a gorgeous, luminous finish, a really radiant, spectacular, angelic finish without it either getting too shiny throughout the day or without it starting off a bit matte and then getting glowy enough for me. This starts off in the perfect sweet spot that I love, and it just stays there and it wears beautifully. It doesn't need to be set with powder. It's very flattering on the skin, and it's just a perfect glowy, medium coverage, natural skin-like quality that I adore. It's not what I would choose for like an event foundation, but for my everyday go-to, it still remains unbeaten. And I will say those other foundations I mentioned, the Chanel #1, the NARS and the Hourglass, if you want to own one foundation and you don't want like 3 for different occasions, those would all be probably a better pick than the Tom Ford for you, because they're going to offer you that, you know, evening option, whereas I wouldn't recommend you. This is going to give you bounce back in flash photos. So I personally would not recommend wearing this for events, evenings, weddings, date night, any time when you might take a flash photo or someone might take one of you. So if you want to only own one, I would probably recommend those three above this, but I'm happy having many foundations. And the bottle doesn't hurt. So a non-mover in the foundation category, but moving on to concealer, there's a mover. And you may be shocked, but we've got a new favourite concealer up in here. 2021, my favourite concealer was the Pat McGrath. You probably were expecting it still to be the Pat McGrath today, but in fact, it is the new Huda Beauty concealer. It has slightly overtaken, I think, the Pat McGrath for me. This is probably one of those that it's a new decision. I've newly come to the conclusion and I think I prefer this one, and I'll tell you why. This concealer is so smooth on the under eye area. It is very, very smooth, flawless, perfecting on the under eye. Disaster. On the problematic under eye area, I find it so flattering, so smoothing, just really perfecting under there the texture, and it kind of ticks every other box when you compare it to the Pat McGrath. The Pat McGrath has this fantastic coverage, like full coverage without being heavy, feels light, looks light, but gives a lot of pow in the coverage stakes. This does exactly that also. The Pat McGrath has great shades, great undertones, as does the Huda. They both have nice little diddy components. They are a nice price point, but you get a lot more in the Huda Beauty. This one is 9mm. I think you get 5, I think, in the Pat McGrath. So a lot more product for your money, but ultimately it comes down to the product for me. And this just has that extra smoothness that I notice. I also find that the doe foot in this concealer picks up quite a small amount. Like you might even have to go back in and build up and add more, but I'd much rather do that than lay down too much product initially and have a heavier under eye than I want, or more product that's more inclined to exaggerate lines and texture and just create more mess under there than we started with. This gives you a very light application. You can always go in with more, but it doesn't lay down too much initially. I love it. The doe foot itself as well is very gentle and nice to apply on that delicate under eye area. Love everything about it. New number one. Didn't see that one coming. But it is a non-mover for my under eye setting powder. It's still the Pat McGrath. This is still my favourite for setting my under eyes, for setting my concealer. I have changed shade, I think. I think in 2021 I was still using the light shade in winter and then the medium shade in summer. Now I use the yellow, the banana, whichever you want to call it, shade all year round, which is amazing. That new shade, very, very good for like my skin tone. Gives an extra bit of brightening, still very, very smooth, flattering, perfect with the Pat concealer or the Huda concealer, a non-mover. So now for the all over powder category, and again we've got a new winner. In 2021 the winner was the La Mer powder. Still like it, still a big fan, but not my number one powder anymore. Now we have the Sisley powder. I have the shade Iris. This was definitely a Mel Thompson that made me buy it. She was the queen of setting powder. Mel loved a bit of setting powder. I hate setting powder typically, not really a setting powder type of girl. I don't really set my foundation very often, but when I do, I want a powder that is not powdery. I want a powder to basically not be there. I want it to set my foundation and make it last a really long time. I want it to stop shine coming through, and I want to give me like a powdered base to blend powders on top of, like bronzers, etc. That's all I want it to do. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear from it. I don't want to know it's there. And that is tricky to find. I don't know if you've noticed. This is the closest I've come. I feel like when I apply setting powder, typically, I want to cry because it's ruined my foundation. It's stolen all my glow. It's stolen my luscious, luminous skin. Where's it gone? Where's it gone, powder? And I hate it. But this powder, actually, when I initially apply it, for a second, I think, are you stealing my glow? Are you stealing it? And then it's like it melts into the skin and it just looks like it wasn't there. It doesn't leave a colour, it doesn't leave a cast. It just it just slightly takes the very top of the edge off of any over the top shine, but the glow and the luminosity from the skin and the finish from your foundation stays there, and you really cannot see or notice that you have powdered. So if I'm going to powder, if I have to, if I'm forced, if my arm is behind my back, I will use this one. That's the only one I like. If I have to. I am forced. So speaking of bronzer, now this was one that I've wanted to make this video for weeks now, but I've been going back and forth on a few products trying to like narrow things down, and we do have a mover from 2021. The winner of best bronzer in 2021 was the Marc Jacobs Tantalize bronzer, and we do have a new winner, and it's the Victoria Beckham Bronze Duo. I love this bronzer. It's just, I have two shades. This is number 4. I use 3 and 4 just depending on the mood. It's the undertones for me. It's literally so natural for like my undertone and like how the color that my skin goes when I've got a tan, which is what I'm trying to replicate with bronzer. It's just got that red undertone that is how I tan, but in such a natural way. I love the finish. It is matte, which I tend to lean towards matte bronzers these days because everything else is so glowy. Something's got to be matte, you know, but I find it blends so beautifully, so easily. I need a very small amount. Having the 2 shades is fantastic because you can kind of mix and match. You can get a bit of a sculpt and a bronze from the same product. The packaging of all Victoria Beckham Beauty is stunning, but this is like one of the most stunning pieces. Gorgeous. I love the big mirror. I mean, I've had this a long time now, and the clasp has never failed or broken or anything. It's high quality. I really like that. And the product inside is just beautiful. Smooth, perfecting, easy to blend, easy to build, very, very natural when it comes to the tone and the shade. Chef's kiss, new number 1. I mean, now I come to look at it, we've had quite a lot of movement, you know, in the old cheek area, the cheek region. We have a new entry for highlight, and I think again that's going to be probably brand new information for many of you. You're probably going to be surprised. The 2021 winner was the Pat McGrath Divine Rose highlight. That has been my number 1 highlight for a very long time. It's just the perfect natural everyday glow without being like highlight in your face. You know what I'm saying? But this year a highlighter came along that gives me the like subtle glowy luminosity that I love, with just a slight bit more punch to it, but still very smooth, melts into my skin. And the thing that separates this and makes it the winner is the shade. But it's still Pat McGrath. It's Venus Nectar. This is my new number 1 favorite highlight, the highlight that I have on today. It is a bit glowier than Divine Rose, a bit more highlighty, but the thing about this highlight, it's the color. Can you see how you can barely see the colour there on my hand? It's just glow and luminosity. The Divine Rose highlight, I think in winter is closer to my skin tone, but is a little lighter than my skin tone in summer. This one I can use summer and winter, and it just melts into the skin and you see no colour. You just see glow and luminosity, which is what gives me that real glowy, luminous shine to the cheeks without it looking like highlight or being too bright, because the color is just so perfect for my skin tone. That's what kind of sets it apart. I probably prefer the formula of the Divine Rose actually, but just because the color is so significant when it comes to highlight and how it looks on you and how sort of melted into the skin and natural it appears. Color is everything. Finding one that works for your skin tone is so key to how it looks and how natural and seamless it goes with everything. And that one for me is absolutely perfection. So a new number 1. I feel like I might have slightly gone out of order because now we're going back to contour, and I feel like we should have done this earlier, but never mind. it is what it is. My favourite contouring product has not changed. A non-mover. It is still the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand. What I will say has slightly changed is I've started using the darker shade, whereas I was using the lighter one previously. That's just because this one was in stock and the lighter one wasn't. I love both colours. Both of them work. I feel like this does give me a bit more of a sculpted look because the light, they both just melt into the skin so easily. Like, you barely need to blend these at all. They're so easy to blend. They blend themselves. So because the lighter shade was quite subtle and soft on me, on my skin tone, it's almost like you barely want to blend it, otherwise you're going to blend it away. Whereas the deeper shade means I can do a bit more blending without losing the effect. So if I was going to recommend one, I probably would go for the medium deep for my skin tone, because it's just going to give you more to work with as far as colour. It's just so natural. Yes, it is neutral cool, but it's not like ashy, it's not grey, it doesn't make me look like I'm dead. I just want to look a bit sculpted. I don't want to look like I've died. And that is just the perfect natural contour. It creates the effect of shadow, of shade, of sculpt without going like over the top Halloween makeup, you know. And next for blush, again, a new entry, which was probably going to, I don't know, is it going to be surprising? I don't know. You tell me, were you surprised? Were you? I don't know. But in 2021, the top blush, the #1 blush for me was Laura Mercier's Bellini. And this year we have a whole new brand and a whole new shade. And it is, I was trying to buy time while I opened it, but I'm not that smooth. We've done it now. It's the RMS blush. This blush formula is just it. It's that girl. It's just stunning, glorious. I mean, the pattern in here, the embossing is delightful. And I've used this blush to death, and you still can see it's got a lot of beautiful pattern left in there. That's going to last a very long time. You could be really careful if you really wanted to just stick to the middle, and you'd keep that sort of spiky outer part a lot longer. That's not really my style. I'm just gonna get in there and ruin it. What a pain. Now, I love many of these blushes. I think I have 4 now. I love them all, but I think if I had to pick one, Mai Tai, my first, the one that started the obsession, is probably my #1. This is the blush I have on today, and it is a peachy blush, but to look at it in the pan, it's like so strongly peach, and I feel like it's a bit more subtle, a bit more neutral on the cheeks than, on me at least, than it is in the pan, or what it looks perhaps in the pan versus how it actually swatches and goes on the cheek. It's just stunning. The finish is what does it for me. It's just gloriously luminous without being glittery or sparkly and without enhancing texture. It's just got this stunning luminosity. I find them really easy to work with, buildable, very easy to blend. You can do as much or as little as you want. A great bunch of shades. I love mixing Mai Tai and Sangria. That's a stunning combination. Maiden's blush is like one of the most beautiful neutral everyday natural blushes. They've got something for like every skin tone, which I really appreciate. They're incredible, and yeah, a new #1 favourite blush. And now we're moving on to les yeux, the eyeballs, the peepers, if you will. And we, again, when it comes to eyeshadow, we have a new entry in 2021. The winner of this category was the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2 palette. And this year, I found a new favourite mothership, and it is Midnight Sun. You guys knew I talked about how wrong I was not to pick this one up and how I wouldn't listen. I said I didn't need it. I mean, I didn't need it, but I picked it up for an absolute steal of like half price in the sale. And thank goodness I did. I think what really separates this one for me, it's the neutral transition shade. It's that need to never have to reach for another palette. You've got everything you need in here. The shades just give me everything. It's just so me, this palette. It's very daytime, very neutral, but with some exciting options. You know, you can create a stunning peachy, summery look in here. You've also got the purple if you want to do something with a pop of colour. But outside of that, everything is very neutral, everyday, natural, but in Pat McGrath's way, you know, the ultimate shine, shimmer, impact, but in a sort of everyday, neutral, boring girl, basic way, which is literally me in eyeshadow form. I also find like even these special shades, even this gold, which I know everyone's sick to death of golds, but this is my favorite gold from Pat McGrath. It's lighter, it's beautiful in the inner corner, and even this special shade, it's one that isn't as crumbly and loose as in a lot of palettes. It's actually quite smooth, and because it doesn't have a huge amount of base to it, it's just literally a massive pop shade. You can put that over the top of any shimmer and you just have like 10 times more shine and glitter and shimmer and impact and sparkle, but it doesn't really change the colour, which is perfect. I reach for that as a topper shade, like with loads of other palettes. That's one that I will, you know, whack on top of a Chanel eyeshadow or a Tom Ford eyeshadow that's not quite giving what I need it to give. I'll go in here and just whack that special shade over the top and boom, we get there. But yeah, I think it's incredibly versatile. It's for every occasion. It's just my type of shades. Live for it. So glad she arrived. Eyeliner is a non-mover. 2021's eyeliner, it was the KVD tattoo liner. Nothing's changed. It's still the only eyeliner that I can do a wing with. And thank goodness for you. Nothing's changed. She's still #1 a year later. Fair play. Probably more than a year later, to be honest. It's been several years. And another non-mover in the mascara category, 2021, it was Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk mascara, and she's still my #1. Okay, I've been through many of these. Well, I haven't actually. I've probably been through maybe 3 of these because they last so long. It's just unbelievable. This is just it for me. I love this packaging so much. It's so beautiful and pretty, and I love all the touches, the gold, the rose gold lid and everything. I think it's gorgeous. This is just the perfect mascara for me. It gives me lift, length, separation and volume, no clumping. I think it's perfect on lower lashes as well as on upper lashes. I just love everything about it. It cannot be beaten. It hasn't been beaten in over a year. I'm actually surprised when I looked back at 2021 because I didn't realize this had been in my life for that long, like 16 months at least, and this has been my #1 for that entire time, which is a big achievement for a product around here to have been like the #1 in its category for over, I mean, I don't even know, almost 2 years it must be. At least a year and a half. Like that, like fair play to you. Push-up lashes, fair play. One thing I just wanted to say while we're on the topic of the Charlotte Tilbury push-up lashes, I was talking about this in, I think it was in a Makeup Dilemmas, in some video. Somebody said, or no, I think it might have been my unpopular opinions video when somebody said an unpopular opinion was that they hate this mascara, it smudges and it's terrible and it does nothing for them or something like that. And obviously that happens. People have different, you know, oilier lids than me, and mascaras are not going to perform necessarily the same on you as they do on me. We have different lashes, and some people have oily lids which can affect mascaras and I don't. So I would get on better with this than the next person. That's completely natural. What I do want to share with you is that I also had lots of people telling me in comment section of that video and just messaging me that they tried a sample size of this mascara, and a few of the comments saying I hate this mascara, it's the worst mascara ever, had said I've tried several samples of it. I tried several of the travel size of it. And so that's my question is, have you actually tried the full size? Because I had lots of people telling me the travel size is not the same. It's not as good. It doesn't perform the same for whatever reason. I'm sure the formula is probably the same, but maybe just the combination of like the smaller wand and the smaller component. I don't know, maybe it's like expiring. I don't know whether those sit around longer than the full sizes. I don't know, but lots of people have told me when they've tried both the travel size and the full size is far, far, far better than the travel size. So if you've only tried the travel size, that may be why you aren't getting along with the one I'm talking about, because they aren't the same. I will say I've had that experience with perfumes as well. You know, if you get a little sample of a perfume and I think it's useless, like I can't smell it, it doesn't have any projection or longevity, and then you get the full size and it just is a completely different beast, probably because you just can't spray enough of those little ones. But yeah, I wonder if you think that the Charlotte Tilbury mascara is awful and you've tried it and you think you hate it and it's terrible, did you try the full size or did you try the travel size? I'm just curious. An experiment, if you will. So we're getting down to the bones of it now. Only a few products left, but quite a lot of movement. So the 2021 winner of Best Lip Liner last year was Natasha Denona's Naya lip liner, a very nice formula, but this year it's been completely smashed off top spot by the arrival of the Lisa Eldridge lip liners. These are just it for a lip liner. I hope there's going to be more shades. I would love a few more colours of this. This is the shade Affair, and it's just like the perfect nude lip liner that goes with anything. I actually used it with my lipstick today that's actually a peachier, like coral type of lipstick, and it just works. It works with basically anything. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love how creamy and smooth it is, and the pigment and how long it wears. It's just all tick, tick, tick. Perfect, perfect, perfect. New number one. Now, my favourite lipstick last year was Charlotte Tilbury's Nude Romance. And that is still right up there. Don't get me wrong. That's still absolutely a favourite nude for me. But this year, these Dior Addict lipsticks came along and stole my heart right out my chest, okay? If you've been to my channel before, you'll know how much I adore these lipsticks, how much I'm obsessed with them. I can't stop buying them. Every time I go near them, I get a new shade. There's just so many incredible colours. I love all of them. I think my favourite, however, is Mimirose. It's just so flipping pretty. I love it. It's such a feminine, gorgeous colour. It's a little light for me, that's why I used it with Affair today. In the summer it goes a little too light, but I can still get away with it, especially with a liner. In winter, if you have a light or fair skin tone, so many of you have messaged me telling me that you bought Mimirose after seeing me rave about it, and it's become like your absolute favourite lipstick of all time. It's just so stunningly pretty and soft and feminine and wearable, and it's just, there's something different about it. I love the finish and the feel of these lipsticks. They're so hydrating, so luscious and juicy and shiny, so flattering. I love them. I love the components, but the lipsticks are just exactly what I love. Perfect for me. And gloss, we've got a mover as well. So again, last year, 2021, my favourite gloss was the Natasha Denona gloss in the shade Caramel, which I still like, but again, this year the Lisa Eldridge glosses came along, and forget any other gloss, okay? Forget it. I only want these on my lips. Well, pretty much. Again, I need more. I need more shades. One of the standouts is Dragon, just because it's nigh on impossible to find like a peachy gloss like this that is so high opacity yet so comfortable and so pretty. You don't need a lipstick with it. In summer, this is just like a gorgeous peachy orange gloss, and it's stunning, so comfortable. I love everything about these glosses. They feel beautiful. They're very hydrating, conditioning on the lips. These are described as like a lip mask meets lip gloss, so they're very nourishing for the lips, very kind to lips, but have so much colour, and they're so smooth and shiny, but no glitter, no grittiness, no stickiness. How does she do it? So there's my number one lip. I mean, not necessarily as a combo, but you know, we can give it a go. But these, I mean, look at those. The lips of the year. I mean, we're talking about the longevity of these liners. Actually, it won't come off. And now lastly, but by no means leastly, it's the setting spray category, which I didn't have an entrant last year. 2021, there was no setting spray category because I never used to use setting spray until this one came along. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Never used to use setting spray, not a setting spray girl. I've now repurchased this like twice. I keep buying the small bottle because it fits in my drawer. And it's also nice to travel with. This is amazing. Okay, it's amazing. It just gives a really gorgeous, healthy glow and fresh look to your makeup, but it really does extend longevity. Now if I'm going out in like it's heat wave time, it's melting time, it's humid, it's going to be a long day, I just want everything to stay where I've put it. It's this every time. It definitely makes a big difference. It's very reliable. I love the scent. It's a nice fine mist, very pleasant to apply. I never thought I'd be a setting spray girl, but I think I am one now. And so there you have it. That is my number one, my current number one, for today at least, in every makeup category. Please let me know what your predictions were. Were there any surprises? Were you shook to your core? Or was this exactly what you expected? What are your number one products? Are you still searching? Do you have a number one? Tell me, give me the tea in the comment section down below, please, I beg you. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.